Okay, so we just recently seen Victor Wembanyama and Chris Paul hook up and basically destroy. They were amazing. Now, this is not going to probably happen all year round. So let's get down and let's check out some of the things that we can look forward to and try and figure out how well San Antonio is going to do with their new addition. Okay, so one thing that I would really look at seeing, and we're probably going to see a ton of this season, is screen and rolls with Victor Wembanyama setting that screen, rolling to the basket, and Chris Paul attacking the basket. Because, let's face it, this is pretty well unstoppable. With drop coverage, that's probably how teams are going to at least initially start defending this screen and roll. They're not going to be really all that worried about Chris Paul pulling up for a mid-range shot versus having Victor Wembanyama attack the basket and be a guaranteed dunk. Let's face it, Chris Paul, if wide open, probably shoots somewhere in the range of 65% from mid-range, while a dunk from Victor is going to be absolutely 100%. And especially when we start seeing things like this, where that drop coverage man has absolutely zero way of blocking this. Like, look at the reach that Victor has. This is going to be absolutely unstoppable. But it's not even just the threat of Chris Paul and Victor scoring. It's also the threat of other players on the court. Because when this happens, that screen and roll happens, look at the attention that was just had on that play. Literally the entire defense was looking and saying, oh no. Well, the first thing that happens is we have a baseline cutter. Anytime that your defender is no longer paying attention and now they are starting to zone up or triple or double team Victor, you're going to have players who are absolutely wide open. And the nice thing with Victor is he's got court vision, which means that these are going to be open all day long. Now, this is actually a really nice move by Victor. This is actually a small man move. This is not necessarily a big man move, but right here, that pivot with that swipe through, that clears off his defender to give him enough space so that he can actually dribble the ball. The shot fake also helps too. That gets the man up into the air. That allows him to create just enough space between his defenders, which tends to be a double team most times, versus himself so that he can get that open shot. Because let's face it, even like I'm going to break this down even later on in the video because the massive defensive mistake that happened, but that shot, for how high it is, you're looking at basically 9.5 feet in the air. How many defenders are going to be able to go and contest that while having a little bit of backwards momentum to reach 9.5 feet? That's extremely hard no matter how tall or how good you are. And this is the mistake defensively that I seen and I was just mentioning. Shot fake. When are you ever going to be able to block Victor Wembanyama? If I was an NBA coach right now, I would be saying, anyone closing out on Victor, have your hands up, contest. I don't care. Do not jump. If you jump, this is what's going to happen. Victor is going to have one dribble past you. He's going to be able to wind up a dunk from like 12 feet out, and he's going to be smashing it on everybody. In fact, I want Victor as a defensive player to take that three. I really want him to take that three because this is 100%. And while this is not 100% for everybody, it's pretty darn close to 100% for Victor. This is probably closer to 30% for Victor, which means that out of 10 possessions, this one equals most likely 20 points versus 30% out of 10 shots, you're looking at 9 points. That is the massive difference. Now, for a normal player, this is shot more like 45%. For a normal player, I'm talking about missed layups, missed mid-range, overall 45%. Out of 10 shots, you're making maybe 8 points. Let's call it 9 points on average out of those 10 possessions. If you shoot 30%, and a good shooter, and I mean like a Steph Curry, a Klay Thompson, like an actual good shooter, you're shooting more like 35%, which means that 35% for a 3-point shot equals 11 points. So for a regular player, you want this not to happen. You would rather him drive, get a contest with maybe a potential double team with a help defender. That would be fantastic. That's what you want for most players. But for Victor, you would much rather him take that 3-point shot because the 2-point shot is 100%. 30%. So I would be telling every player who is closing out on Victor, do not jump. I do not want you to jump. Stay on your feet, contest. That's it. I don't care about the shot. And now Chris Paul isn't necessarily known for three-point shooting. He's known for that 15-foot jumper around the free throw line. But when you've got a big screener and a massive threat going to the basket, guess what? Would they rather just contest and stop his ability from getting to the rim versus a Chris Paul shooting probably 30% from three? Well, if they're taking this away, you might as well shoot this. So this might be actually a big year for Chris Paul shooting the three-point shot. I would have never guessed. So between these two players, there is a lot of threats that can be had by the San Antonio Spurs. Really quickly, hit that like button and subscribe. If you want to be able to shoot the ball better, make sure to go check out my shooting workout that is down in the description below. And I'll see you guys again in my next video.